presence, my friend Satyanarayana ji, Harsh Chitale ji, Dr. Gulshan Rai, other friends, all the luminaries of the industry, IT industry. I just want to share with you some facts of what we are doing currently in the UID, Authority of India. This journey, and just wanted to share some facets of it. One is that this journey started about 3 years back when our chairman, Mr. Nilekani, joined as chairman, and I also on the same time joined as the managing director general. And we took about 1 year to essentially put in place various kinds of stuff together and make ourselves ready for starting this project. And when we were, sort of in that journey, in that period of designing this project, there were a lot of issues, and everybody was trying to design it, and as it happens, everybody was giving his valuable inputs into the system. And therefore, this design has happened, of course, in a very collaborative mode. But I think we made certain choices which were not really very apparent at that time whether they will hold good. So one choice was, everybody said when you collect the data from the persons about creating IDs, you should collect as much as possible. So the Minorities Affairs Ministry was saying collect about whether he is Alpsankyak or not. The Rural Development was saying collect whether he is poor or not, and various types of things. And then we realized that if we start collecting all that data, we will never be able to complete this project. And we actually at that time came up with the concept that identity is different from eligibility. So if a person is poor, he is eligible for n number of benefits. That's his eligibility part. If he is Alpsankyak, then it is his eligibility, he may be, so all these identities which you currently have, whether it is a driving license or whether it is a BPL card or a ration card, essentially relate to eligibility. That you can drive or you can take ration on BPL rates. So we stuck to our ground saying that we will collect and we will manage only identity. So therefore the data which we decided to collect, and that was decided through a committee, Data Standards Verification Committee, and we said we'll collect only the age, the gender, the name and the address, that's all. And so therefore we have adopted a very minimalistic approach and just limited ourselves to collecting data which proves identity. And we said you can build applications on this identity, which is, you can collect his BPL status or so you have other databases which are connected to the UID number, the Aadhaar number, but we ourselves will just collect this minimal data. And I think that had been a great design choice, because that is how we have been able to scale up. That is how we have been also able to respond to some of the privacy issues people raised. And we said, if I am collecting only these 4 informations, tell me which of the information is private. Your name is not private, your gender is probably not private, age is of course maybe. So basically we have limited this part. The second choice was, you can start collecting, what is the biometric, because biometric was recognized initially as a tool to ensure that one person will get only one ID. But in what form, structure, format we collect the biometrics. So we put up a committee and we said all our things must be standard based. So we are not, we should follow the well-defined standards in collecting data, whether it is a data standard or whether it is a biometric, image standards, all kinds of standards. So, and wherever, of course, there may be certain situations where standards don't exist. For example, in IRIS, we really do not have a well-defined standards the world over. And therefore, we said, we will define our own standards, and then try to sort of propagate them. So the other decision was, we should keep all our things standard-based, because that makes it interoperable. That makes, then we will be able to communicate to other kinds of systems. So this was another design principle, that our approach must be standard-based. Third was, what kind of software we use. to do our things. And we took a conscious choice that we will use open source stack wherever it is feasible. Open source will not become a mere ideology that, we'll say that we'll do open source only even when it doesn't exist. So we said we'll use open source stack wherever it is possible, and wherever it is not possible, we'll go to proprietary. So what we have done at the back end is that all our software stack is open source. Linux, MySQL, all those RabbitMQ, other kinds of, many things, I don't even know the names, but the general philosophy has been wherever you have a robust open source software solution, we shall use that. The other issue was, of course, biometric deduplication is an area on which we do not have any robust open source system. And therefore, we had to get the services of the biometric service providers who do the deduplication. There also, actually, we said, if I get one fellow and he does the deduplication, I don't know whether it is true or false. I mean, I don't know whether he is saying this person doesn't exist and he might be issuing two UIDs to each, one person, and that is the basic, reason for having UID, that is unique ID. So we actually went in for 3 biometric service providers. And that way we were able to actually cross-check the accuracy, because one person says this guy is duplicate. I'll give that data to the other 2. Say, tell me what it is. And they don't know whether the first one has found it to be duplicate. So that solution, of course, is proprietary solution, and there also we have done this innovation of having 3 BSPs, which nobody in the world had done before. So that is another part. There was choice of, hardware. Some people said that we have a custom hardware which can actually do all this work which you want to do in a very, very cost-effective manner. And then we said, no, we will not go for any custom proprietary kind of hardware. We will go for a commodity hardware. And, we'll keep on adding up as and when we require. So as the volume grows, we'll just keep on adding the boxes. That has been, so basically any hardware, whether it is Intel processor or whether it is other processors, we are this part. Then we said we need, to do all this, we need scalability. And therefore our solution has got to be scalable. So whatever is required to achieve that scalability, we shall do that. Last but not the least was the issue of cost. We have to do it, and we are not a very rich country, and we have to do it for 1.2 billion people. So how much, we should minimize the cost without compromising the quality and technology. And therefore we adopted and sort of fine-tuned our solutions. And today I can say that the total cost per person for issuing, for enrollment, processing, communication, and further maintenance of authentication framework is less than 150 rupees. The UK ID card project which was done, the London School of Economics had done the study, and it was coming to 400 some odd pounds per identity. Ours is $3, less than $3 per ID. So the total cost of the project, even 1.2 billion multiplied by 3 or multiplied by 150 rupees comes to 18,000 crores. The total cost is not going to be more than 15,000 crores of our project. People talk about 150,000 crores and all that. So the cost, the scalability, the speed. So how do you design a system which also scalability is fine, but how do you get the data? So therefore we said, let's design it in such a manner that it is completely scalable, it's distributable. So essentially the kit, the enrollment kit, one kit does 50 enrollment per day. And actually if you want to cover India in 1 year, you just have to divide 120 crores by 50 multiplied by 300 or whatever. So that many machines if you have, you can cover this country in 1 year. So we had achieved the speed of 10 lakh per day, 1 million per day. And the last thing which we decided was, government departments have a propensity to, sort of grow like amoeba, grow and grow and grow. We said we will be a very lean and thin organization, and the total number of persons in our organization is less than 400. We said we should focus on building the ecosystem, not really do things ourselves. So from the beginning itself, we started building the enrollment ecosystem. We partnered with the state government. We partnered, then the state government, they developed the ecosystem of the enrollment agencies. So today we have more than 300 enrollment agencies enrolled with us. Then we developed the ecosystem of operators, certified devices. So we have about 100,000 operators today. We have about 20,000 machines working, in the field at some point of time, a couple of months back. Now the number is a little lower. So is that there are many people who do not have ID in this country, and therefore they are not able to access various services. If I don't have an ID paper, I cannot open a bank account, I cannot get a mobile connection, and I cannot, even when traveling in train now they say that even third class you will have to show your ID. So if I don't have an ID, probably I can't even travel in a train. So this problem of lot of people not having any ID paper, and ID problem being a circular problem in the sense that if I have one ID, I can get another one and I can get another one, it becomes easy and easy and easy. If you don't have anything, the typical bootstrapping problem. So we had to solve that issue. So I think it has been able to solve that problem, and we are very conscious to organize camps for marginalized people and other part. The most important part, which is now going to come up in our ID project, is essentially applications. And the infrastructure of an online real-time authentication of IDs through a mobile device like mobile phone with a fingerprint reader. That is actually going to cause revolution in the entire delivery system. That's what is my personal feeling. Because if one is able to authenticate in a non-repudiable manner his or her identity, then it simplifies a number of things. You are able to do banking transactions, you can take your ration, you can do other kinds of stuff. So this is the area which, as you are aware, Prime Minister on 20th of October in Dudu in Rajasthan, Prime Minister of India and of course Chairperson of UPA, Finance Minister, Deputy Chairman Planning Commission, a number of luminaries were there. They actually launched the service delivery based on Aadhaar. And that service delivery, they not only launched it in Rajasthan, they also, service delivery pilots from various parts of the country also were being beamed in live mode. So for example, we had in Jharkhand, people being paid their Narega wages and scholarships. We had in Andhra Pradesh, in East Godavari district, people getting their ration from the shops using Aadhaar authentication. They were having people in Aurangabad, Maharashtra, where people were getting their old age pension using this. And in Tripura, back in Tripura, again, same pensions they were using. And it actually brings about proxy is not possible. Which means if I am the Narega worker and I have earned my wages, nobody else can pick up my wages. If I am a ration card holder who deserves 2 rupees a kilo rice, nobody else can get my rice. So this brings about, and then because this identity is electronic, mobile, authenticable anywhere, anytime, the eligibility becomes mobile. So entitlements also become mobile. So I need not draw my ration from this shop, I can draw my ration from that shop because my ration entitlements are also on the cloud and my identity is also on the cloud. So by proving my identity, my eligibility comes in and I use the eligibility and get the ration. So this gives a tremendous power to the consumer. This gives power to the common people, poor people. And this portability of entitlements, portability of drawing those entitlements, this is an extremely powerful concept which actually will bring a substantial change because now the options and the power and the choice is with the consumer. So this way, I think this will ensure the tremendous change and transformation in the service delivery space. We are just beginning. In fact, as you know, the Prime Minister's, there's a group, there's a committee on direct cash transfers chaired by the Prime Minister. And that committee is going to, sort of lay the framework of how the direct cash transfer is going to work in a number of schemes. Of course, those schemes where cash is already being transferred, for example, in Narega, wages, all scholarships, those schemes will be covered first. And Aadhaar will become an important bridge. Aadhaar also enables the conducting of the banking transactions at the grassroots level, whereby using this micro ATM, which is a small device. In fact, we have now done this authentication and application on Akash, which is just a 2,500 device. So basically you will have the mobile micro ATM capable of doing banking transactions, capable of actually doing the ration disbursement on that device costing less than 3,000. And you can have millions of these devices in the country. So this is the way I think we will be able to transform the service delivery. Again, the approach is ecosystem based, partnership based, and a lot of you are going to play in the space of authentication devices. We are having certification of authentication devices. So this ecosystem is also going to build, linking and seeding the Aadhaar into various databases, digitization of various beneficiary databases. So all these activities are going to generate huge amount of business for the IT sector. And I think we are going to see not only the growth in this space, but also the governance, delivery. Recently, actually, we have had an interesting debate about how corruption could be contained. And you must have read, chairman made that corruption can be contained. Use technology. And I am also a great believer in that philosophy that you can contain corruption through having the inspectors and over-inspectors. And one has heard the story about some milk, king finding that there was some water in the milk. He appointed a supervisor, and then there was more water in the milk, and he kept on appointing them, and finally it was all water. So yes, to some extent in certain sectors, wonderful, you must have a vigilance mechanism. But I think the retail kind of ground level corruption can certainly be controlled through use of technology, and that's what we should do. Through use of technology, we should enable people to have choice. We should have cost effectiveness, transparency, accountability, auditability, and all these things are possible if you use these IT systems, because if somebody does the authentication, immediately the time, date, location of authentication is known. So therefore the ration shopkeeper cannot say that this person has drawn ration because that person never visited his shop. And interestingly, it has brought down 30% reduction in the lifting in East Godavari has reduced by 30%. And that's, if you do that, the food subsidy, once the food security bill comes into play, is going to cross 1 lakh crore per annum. And if you cannot fix this pipe, fix this delivery system, 30,000 crores is actually the leakages if you go by that 30%. Then 30,000 crores, the total project cost is 15,000 crores, so you can see the return on investment of this project. So just wanted to share some of these thoughts. Thank you very much.